time today. Hello and good evening. We are continuing in Torah Samech Beis 62. And we said, Vayaseh Elokim et ha'am, Kadosh Baruch Hu took Am Yisrael, through Yam Suf, Chamu Shimon Bnei Yisrael Mitzrayim. So we say Vayasev, the Medrash also says, that Vayasev is Lashon HaSeiba, Misubin, sitting down to eat. And at the end of the Torah, Rabbeinu explains what it's about, and we explained it is through the yichud, through the eating of Am Yisrael, that it becomes a yichud koshav shchintei. That this is apin be'apin, face to face. Koshav as we said, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Shchintei is the way Kadosh Baruch Hu is expressed here in this world. That's a shechina. Obviously, when they become one, then the expression is ultimate. Then the Hashem Echad U'Shmo Echad, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is evident in this world the way He is, and there is different levels of Yichud Kushav Yichud Shinteh. There is, Echor be'Echor, back to back. There's Echor be'Panim, there's back to face, and there's Panim be'Echor, face to back. But the ultimate, Yichud is apin be'apin, face to face. We explained that. Boaz said to Rus, in the time of eating, come. We said Boaz represents Koshav Yichud. Rus represents the Malchus and the Shechina. Dafka, when you should come, the time of eating. So he says, come here, this is Yichud Koshav Yichud Shchintei. And we also said that this kind of occasion is when the unification of Koshav Yichud Shchintei is expressed in Bereshis, when it says Vayigash alav Yehuda came close to Yosef HaTzadik. Zohar says about it, Dati Krofta Malka b'Malka. That as a king approaches a king. Yehuda is the Melech of brothers. Yosef is the Melech Mitzrayim. Yehuda represents the Malchus, the Shechina. Yosef represents the Zerampin, the Koshav Yichud. And he says, so this is Dafka in the time of eating. He says that the eating has to be food that after was already purified, no mixture in it. And we explain at length of the Marishon, that's when good and bad became mixed up together. And the entire process of creation in our lifetime is to do this processing, to separate the good from the bad. Then because as long as the good and bad are mixed, this is all residue of Chet Adam Rishon, then the klipa, which is the tumah, has the ability to suck from the kedusha. But the minute that you separate them, the tumah falls away and disappears, and the kedusha goes up and reflects the kedusha Kadosh Baruch Hu. This is what we learned last week. It said it has to be, if the food is not, is not purified, which is purified, by the oath of eating and so forth and so on, as the Rebbe will explain. A person can chas v'chala, do a various. And he separates Kadosh Baruch Hu and the Shechina. And Sif Beis, the biur shama cholim, and the purification of the food, well, the emunah is dafka through emunah, or through when a person is a mamin, he believes, he is purifying the food from the bad and the klippas just by eating. A regular yid eating the sudas, yom chol, you're sitting down, come from shul, making breakfast, you're making yourself a scrambled egg with a piece of bread, make a bracha, bechavana b'zat Hashem, and you eat, pashut eat. No extra kavanas or whatever it is, you just eat. When a person has emunah, Zel Chid has emunah, the way emunah is supposed to be, this is something that brings about an extremely high level of unification of Kodesh Baruch Hu and the Shekhinah, which means that Kodesh Baruch Hu is expressed in this world, in a great strength, up in Ba'apim. So the Bira Macholim, this is about a Jew just eating, regular eating. And this is, okay, how does it happen? It sounds like an unbelievable thing. How can a person bring about this just by eating to being, this is the whole Shabbat, such an incredible purification that the Shekhinah is ready, and it is unified with Kodesh Baruch Hu automatically. How does it happen? And it says, when a person has emunah and he eats it, this is purifying the food from the klippas. Okay, so we know the principle. Now comes the question: how can you get emunah, such emunah? It doesn't sound like so basically, I believe in Hashem. It means that it's a very high level of emunah. So Rabbeinu explains how you're zoicha to such emunah, such perfection. Because the fact is like this. Whatever it is, Kodesh Baruch Hu has constricted that the human mind will be able to understand. Mitzvah gedola l'chaded haseichel. It's a great mitzvah to sharpen your mind, l'havin atov al burir, to understand the matter thoroughly. It said about this, you should know or to answer to a heretic. So the Rebbe is saying a very, very deep thing here, because in truth, we cannot understand anything, because anything that we look at, physically, emotionally, whatever, everything that we learn, what we see here in this world is just the very tip. In other words, this is something that Kadosh Baruch Hu has created. Kadosh Baruch Hu has created something which is infinite. There's no way that the human mind can possibly comprehend such a thing. So Kadosh Baruch Hu has constricted that das, that seichel, in such inyanim, in such matters, that it is possible for human mind, if a person will work on it, to understand it. Such a thing, it's a mitzvah for a person to understand. Mitzvah, sharpen your brain, work on it until you get it. Adrabah, the Baal Shem HaKadosh said that if a person, feels that there are verdicts residing on him, it says, take something, some piece of Torah that you don't understand, and work on it until you're able to understand it. When you're able to do that, that ameliorates and sweetens the judgments. Amazing. Now, the mitzvah of understanding the Torah, that's what Kodesh Baruch Hu gave us reshus to understand, is an immense thing, immense mitzvah to do it. That constitutes know what you should answer to the heretic. Which heretic? What are we talking about? So Rabbeinu says, because really, yesh chiluk ben hakashiyos, ben hakashis. Riddles and things we don't understand, differ. Rabbeinu says there are two types of kashas. Yesh kasha, there is one knot, a mental knot. A person is capable to understand the teretz on this. On such mental knots, intellectual knots, it is said, know what you should answer to the heretic. However, v'yesh kasha, there is another level, there's another kind of knot, of knowledge knot, mental knot, intellectual knot. It's not possible for the human mind to understand the teretz on discussion. It's locked. You're banging your head against the wall. However, in the future, it's got a teretz. In the future, when the human mind will grow, and will be able, the in a full way, the human mind will shed its physical limitations of the body, of the nervous system. We all know the human mind, a person uses only less than 5% of his mental capacity. Because the mind is inside the body, and the body and the nervous system are constrictors. They hold the mind back. Osid Lavoy, when Malaretz Deah es Hashem, when the land will be filled with Hashem, with knowledge of Hashem, like water covered the sea, then you understand the terutzim on discussions. The reason is that these particular kashas, these particular questions, are really kind of infinite questions. It takes infinite answer to answers on these problems, these mental knots. So there's not enough time in this world to be able to figure this out. It's endless. But in the future, when our mind, Be'ez Hashem, will be endless, we'll be able to figure this out also. And by the way, that's a time that we will not have choice anymore, because Kadosh Baruch Hu will be evident completely. There'll be no bechir. Why should anybody put his head into the fire? You see the fire is not. But in the future, we will know the answer for this question, this problem. But now, when such a kasha is also la'odon la'ayim, it is not allowed for a human being to delve and look into them. Anybody who relies on his intellectual prowess and looks into it, this is says, anybody enters it, it falls into this kind of heresy, will never come back. Rashi says, anybody that falls into this apicorsis, it's extremely difficult to get out of it, because it's like magnetizing. It's very difficult. Because when a person is studying these questions that cannot possibly be explained and understood, he can fall into heresy. I don't know an answer. A person might feel, oh, you see, there's no answer. No answer, okay, sure. It's Balakasha kazu, and such a question, on such problems, such infinite questions. What do you mean infinite question? How do I know it's infinite? There's no way. It's like that I can possibly figure this out. A person should not rely on his mind, his intellectual ability. Put your mind aside. Just rely on emunah, faith, on faith. So Reb Nosson writes about this, that it seems like Rabbeinu starts with one thing, which is emunah, and then he says, listen, there is something which is called das, something you're supposed to understand, it's a mitzvah to understand, and then there's something else that there you're not supposed to understand, supposed to be das, there you have to rely on emunah only. So supposedly this doesn't stim, it doesn't fit. Are we talking about emunah, or are we talking also das and emunah? The answer is, says Rav Nosson, that really the beginning is always, always, always faith, always emunah. But the emunah, even simple people can have this kind of emunah, and can be very, very strong. Other than people that begin, investigating and researching, they fall, into relying on their minds, on their logic, their ability to figure things out. That we see that Dafka, when Lo Aleinu, there were periods that Am Yisrael, the Jews, were persecuted, and and the Goyim threatened the Jews, either you convert or we're going to kill you. So we see that Dafka, the simple people, gave themselves over, they were willing to die for Kodesh Baruch Hu. But the clever, the smart, the wise people, they're the ones who fell, and they find all kind of terutzim, whatever it is, why it's okay to do it and to hide it and to this and to that, whatever it is. They're the ones who fell. In other words, don't rely on your mind. So you start with emunah. However, emunah leads to das. When you believe in something, at first you accept it, as they say, tabula rasa, a clean slate. You're not questioning. You're not. That's it. That's the way it is. Afterwards, when you start believing like this, then you are going up to another level. You are able to understand. When you see what it is you believe in, when you believe very strongly, Simsof, you're able to see with the eyes of your mind, you're able to see before you had to believe in. Now you understand the das in what you believed. Before you just, I believe, that's it. I don't care. I understand. I don't understand. Once you start with the emunah, and you're strengthening the emunah, you're zoichet that the das shines in this emunah. Such emunah that the das shines it is much stronger. It's much higher. And because Rabbeinu says also, the main thing is that when the emunah is without das, a person can fall from such emunah. It's very easy, I just believe. Okay, so how about that? I don't know. And a person falls from the emunah. So Adabin. There's an Inyan, to go with the emunah and strengthen with the emunah until, B'ezrat Hashem, the das is going to shine into the emunah. But when if a person doesn't do that, then it just remains if he starts with the seichel, then he will fall from it. Truth of the matter is that when a person starts with the emunah, and he gets to the das, and he still knows that even though now I know what I know, and the same way before, I had to believe in what I now know, and I had to believe in it in such a way that I won't, that I didn't understand anything. I had to accept it at face value, just on faith alone. Now I know it, which means that there is a lot higher than that, which I need to believe. There's a lot das which is much higher that I need to believe in it, which is above that which I understand now. To believe higher than that. And when you believe higher than that, then you get das in that too. And it's a process that keeps on going on, and keeps on going on, and keeps on going on endlessly. That is the process, B'ezrat Hashem. It's very, very important. B'ezrat Hashem, we will not continue with the text here, but B'ezrat Hashem, Bli Neder, tomorrow, when we learn the rest of it, we will repeat this. We'll learn this again. Like this, we'll be zoiche, to do a chazara upon a chazara upon a chazara. At Hashem, when we will finish, when going through this Torah, that we will know the structure, the way it goes properly. We'll know it B'ezrat Hashem. I mean, how long it's going to stay? Olam haba v'dvaday it'll stay. This is a mitzvah for this to be mechaded seichel of the seichel enoshi to understand. So, B'ezrat Hashem, I will see you, B'ezrat Hashem, tomorrow night at around 9. Yeah, it's not. It's 9. I think it's 9. Yeah, it's 9 or 8. 8. I think 8:30. It's 8:30. I think. Okay, so we will do it in B'ezrat Hashem. 8:30, and yeah, 8 between 8 and 8:30. B'ezrat Hashem. So B'ezrat Hashem will meet. We'll repeat this B'ezrat Hashem because it's a very, very deep inyan. Hopefully, I'll get a chance to repeat this between me and myself. I'll learn a little bit more and understand what I'm talking about, because it's not that certain that I can do that I actually understand what I'm talking about. Anyhow, have a good evening, and B'ezrat Hashem, I'll see you tomorrow.